Hello students, I am Dr. Ashish Kumar Suri. Welcome to Revision Summary Part 11 of Unit 8 of Management. In this session, we will start the topic of Operations Management. From this topic, you can expect 2 to 4 questions in your examination. The expected marks will be 2 to 4 and the difficulty level may range from easy to difficult. There are various topics in operations management. So we will cover this topic in two parts, one in today's presentation and another will be in next presentation. So operation management, it deals with the conversion of inputs into desired outputs. Okay, operation management is concerned with the conversion of inputs in the desired output. So there will be a conversion process. There will be a conversion process, or we can say manufacturing process, which will convert the inputs into desired outputs. Okay, so operation management is the design, operation and improvement of the system that create and deliver the firm's primary product and services. So it is concerned with the designing, operation and improvement of the system. That is what the conversion system, okay, that create and deliver the firm's primary product and services. Operation management is the effective management of the conversion process, which converts land, labor, capital and management inputs. So these are various inputs into desired outputs, or the outputs are, we can categorize as goods and services, as efficiently as possible to maximize the profit of an organization. So the objective of operations management is to maximize the profit of an organization by converting the inputs, various inputs into desired outputs. The role of operation management includes it identify the potential within the industry, that which product should be manufactured, which should not, provide a good quality product. So quality is also an aspect of operations management. We will discuss it in detail. Timely delivery of the product, this is very important. Identify the competition, develop overall organizational strategy. So these are various roles of operations management. Now the first area of operation management is facility location, that is to identify the place where the business will be started. Location of facility for operations is a long-term capacity decision. Remember, it is a long-term capacity decision which involves a long-term commitment with about the geographical static factors that affect the business organization. So facility location is a long-term commitment because these decisions are irreversible in nature. Once you have identified a location, you have built up your building, plant, established machinery, and when you have invested huge amount of money, so such decisions cannot be reversed easily. So that's why it is a long-term commitment. Location selection is a long-term commitment in terms of machinery and equipment, raw materials, labor skills, market, distribution channels and adjustment with environment. Now where to locate the operation facilities? Start from what are organizational objectives, priorities, goals and strategies. So where to locate? The answer lies in what are organizational objectives, priorities, goals and strategies to achieve the same. There are various factors which affect a location decision. Okay, these factors are market proximity. There should be a market for your product and service. Integration with other partners of the parts of the organization, like the transportation, like the banking, like insurance and all other services. Availability of labor and skills. The labor and required skills should be easily available. Site cost, it should not be too expensive. Availability of amenities like water supply and etc. Availability of transportation, this is very important in case of, especially in the case of goods. availability of inputs, various inputs like raw material, availability of services like banking service, insurance service, suitability of land and climate, regional regulation. You cannot go in against of the rules and regulations of the area. Scope of expansion. Once you are establishing your unit, there must be a scope of expansion which is your long term goal. Safety requirements, it is very important. Political, cultural and economic situation, we cannot go in against of the political or cultural situation or economic situation. Regional taxes, special grants and import-export barrier, these we also need to consider while selecting a particular location. So this part is important. These are the various factors which affect a location selection decision. Now there are various location evaluation method. This part is also important. Question may come on this part. The first method is factor rating method. Now it establishes a composite value for each alternative that summarizes all related factors. So what we will do in this method, we will identify all the factors which affect the location decision. So these, for example, these are the various factors. Now what we will do, we will assign a rating, say out of 10, we will choose a particular scale, out of 10, out of 100 we can assign a rating. So these ratings are out of 10. So we will select a particular scale and we will assign a rating. A high rating means high importance of the particular factor. So a factor with high rating is more important as compared to other factors. Now for various businesses, for different businesses, different factors will have different importance. Accordingly, we will assign a rating to them. Now we will identify various locations. So say in this example we have identified 2 locations. Now we will assign the rating to these factors at both the location. So a rating to a particular factor at a particular location means the availability or the ease of availability of that factor at that particular location. So a high rating indicates that the factor is easily available at that particular location. Now what we will do, for each location we will multiply these factor rating with the location rating. So 8 into 3, 24, 5 into 4, 20 and so on. Same we will do for second location. We will multiply these factor rating with the location rating, and then we will find out the composite location rating. That is, we will add all these values for both the location. So a location with a high composite rating score will be preferred over the other location. So as the total score of location 2 is higher than that of location 1, hence location 2 is best choice in this case. Another method is weighted factor rating method. In this method we will assign weights to different factors. The sum of all these weights, the weights can be assigned out of 1 or say out of 100. So these weights are assigned out of 100. So the sum of all the weights must be 100 always. Okay, or if we have taken it from 1, so the sum of all weights should be 1. So a high weight indicates the higher importance of a particular factor, right? Then we will identify various factors and we will assign ratings to them. So again, a factor with high rating indicates that the availability of that factor at that particular location, good availability of that factor or the preference of that factor over others at that particular location. So what we will do, again we will multiply these weights with the location rating and we will identify the composite score. So for location 1 it is 315 and for location 2 it is 335. So a location with high weighted score will be preferred over location with a low weighted score. So in this case location 2 is the best site based on total weighted scores. Another is center of gravity method. This method treats distribution cost as a linear function of the distance and quantity shipped. So what we are considering in this method? Distribution cost. So this method is based on costing and it works on the principle, on the objective of minimization of cost. The method takes into account the location of plants, markets, volume of goods moved and transportation costs in arriving at the best location for a single intermediate warehouse. So what we are considering? We are considering the total volume of goods moving in and out of the facility, and thus we are considering the transportation cost. So the objective will be the minimization of transportation cost. So this method will use transportation models to identify the best location. The center of gravity is defined to be the location that minimizes the weighted distance between the warehouse and its supply and distribution points. So minimum will be the distance, minimum will be the transportation cost, where the distance is weighted by number of tons supplied or consumed, that is the volume of goods move in or move out. Okay. The formula for center of gravity is this. You can remember this formula. So these Cx and Cy, these are the x and y coordinates of the location that we are evaluating. So Cx is the x coordinate of the center of gravity, Cy is the y coordinate, Dix is the x coordinate of location which we are evaluating, and Diy is the y coordinate of the location. Then we have cost profit volume analysis. In this method we are identifying various, or we are evaluating various locations based on the total cost used to establish the facility. So the total cost can be divided into two parts, fixed cost and variable cost. The economic comparison of location alternative is facilitated by the use of cost profit volume analysis. The analysis can be done as follows. So we are identifying fixed and variable cost involved in the establishment of the particular site, at a particular site or location. It considers the cost as a linear function of the range of probable output. So we are considering cost as the linear function of output. That means when output will increase, the cost will increase accordingly. So the alternative, the location or various alternatives that we are evaluating, analyzing, we will select that location or that alternative which has total minimum cost. So the procedure involves determining the fixed and variable cost associated with each location alternative. Plot the total cost line for all location alternative on the same graph. We will plot the cost curve for all the locations. Determine which location will have lowest total cost for the expected level of output. This will give the location as the highest profit. Okay. So we will select the alternative with the lowest total cost. Then we have break-even analysis. So break-even analysis, or break-even is the point where your total cost is equal to your total revenue. So break-even analysis implies that at some point in the operation, total revenue equals total cost. So break-even is the point where total revenue TR is equal to total cost at that particular level of output. Break-even analysis is concerned with finding the point at which revenue and cost agree exactly. It is called break-even point. So what we will do in this method, we will again evaluate all the location, and the location where break-even point can be achieved as soon as possible, or where the break-even point can be achieved with lowest level of output will be preferred over other location. So how we can calculate break-even point? It is fixed cost divided by revenue per unit minus variable cost per unit, or this term revenue minus variable cost per unit, this can also be called as contribution per unit. Okay, contribution means the total revenue obtained from a sale of 1 unit over and above the cost that we involved in manufacturing that unit. So it is contribution per unit. So break even point is fixed cost divided by contribution margin. So we will identify, or we will evaluate various locations for a particular level of output. and the cost and the location where the break-even point can be achieved as soon as possible will be preferred over other alternatives. Then we have layout planning and analysis. This is another area of operations management. So layout means physical arrangement of work areas. Layout means that the physical arrangement of work areas and equipments. Okay, remember this definition, it is important. It deals with relative allocation of adequate spaces, at the appropriate place for working equipment, working men, materials, customer and other supporting activities for the purpose of achieving quickest and smoothest production. So what layout planning is concerned with, it deals with the relative allocation. Relative allocation means in accordance with each other, that where a particular facility or equipment or machinery should be arranged. Of adequate space, we should assign adequate space to each working area also at the appropriate place, and there should be an appropriate place for a particular working area also. So this important is definition of work, equipment, working man, material, customer, so that the purpose of achieving quickest and smoothest production. The objective is quick and smooth production. So major objective of ideal layout planning is provide enough production capacity. With a good layout planning, we can increase the production capacity, reduce material handling cost. If the arrangement of work areas is good, then the material handling cost, that means the cost of handling material from one working place to another working place, it will be minimized, and if it is minimum, then profit will get maximized. Reduce accidents and hazards to personnel, that is employees. Reduce congestion and utilizing the space efficiently and effectively. Efficient utilization of labor and increase of in employees morale. Ease of supervision, it is again very important. A good layout planning will result in an ease of supervision of all working areas. Ease of maintenance and high machine equipment utilization. If machine utilization, that is the amount of time the machine is busy in working, if utilization of a machine is high, then obviously productivity will be high. That means output will be high. That means profit will be maximized. Improved productivity. Minimum damage and spoilage of material. Minimum will be the spoilage and damage. Maximum will be the profit. Flexibility of changing production condition. Again, this is very important. Once we have done a location planning, that it must be capable, it must be flexible enough so that we can make changes in the coming time. Simplify the process of production. So these are the various objectives of ideal layout planning. There are various layout format. This part is again important. Question may come from this part. So there are various types of layouts. We will discuss them one by one. First is process layout. It is also known as functional layout or job shop layout. It involves grouping of all the similar equipments or functions. So what we are doing in process layout, we are grouping all the equipments which are doing the same task together. So that's why it is called grouping of functions or functional layout, job shop layout, because at a particular shop or a particular department, a particular type of job is being done. So we are grouping similar machineries together, okay, and we are performing a particular task at a particular department. So we have grouped all the similar machines together. We are performing the task on the batch at a particular department. We are moving the entire batch from one department to another, and in this way we are producing the goods. So we will get goods in batches from process layout. These layouts are able to change or adapt quickly to the multitude of operations to be performed on each unique batch of production. So because we are grouping similar machineries together, so we can easily make the changes as per the multitude of operation. Now the benefits of this layout is there is a greater flexibility in production. According to the output, we can change the production facilities because we are grouping similar machineries together. So any change at a particular department is easy. Okay. Then there is an efficient supervision because we are grouping similar machines together at a particular department, so we can supervise very easily all the machines at the same time. Breakdown can be easily handled. So if there is a breakdown at any particular department, this breakdown will not affect the working in the other department because other departments are working independently. So breakdowns can be easily handled. But the drawback is that the volume of output will be low because we are moving entire batch from one department to another department. So this is drawback. And also we required more floor areas. Why we required more floor areas? Because we are grouping similar machineries together. So we need more floor area for this type of layouts. Next we have product layout. It is also called flow shop layout. It is also called straight line layout. It is also called assembly line layout. It involves arrangement of equipment or machine according to the progressive step by which a product is made. So what we have done in this particular type of layout, we have grouped the machineries in the sequence of the job that we need to perform on the raw materials or the work in progress inventory. So we are feeding the raw material from the starting workstation, and one by one we are performing different operation on this raw material, and at the end we will get the finished item. So rather than doing the job on an entire batch, we are moving a single good from one workstation to another. Okay, so for this purpose, for the movement of good, we can use conveyor belts as handling equipment devices. So these type of layout are preferred in the plants that manufacture standardized product on a mass scale. So for mass scale production, like in chemical, paper, rubber, refineries, cement industries, or like in power plant, we will use such type of layout where we need high output. Product layouts are used to achieve a smooth and rapid flow of large volume of goods because there is no stoppage here. With the help of material handling device like conveyor belt, the goods are moving non-stop between one workstation to another workstation. So there is no stoppage of work, hence we are getting mass production. Fixed path material handling equipments like conveyor belts are used to transport items between various operations. As the items move quickly from one operation to another, the amount of work in process inventory is minimal because the goods, once we have performed an operation on good, we will quickly move it to the another workstation. So there is no process inventory in this type of layout because we are not creating any process inventory, that is work in progress inventory. We are performing continuous operation on the raw materials and we are getting the finished item at the end. Now the benefits are such type of layout required a less floor areas because we are arranging all the equipments in a particular sequence. Mass production can be achieved with such type of layout, but there will be a difficulty in supervision because all machines are attached together in a sequence. Different types of machines are attached together in a sequence. So supervision is difficult in such case, and if there is a breakdown, then there will be a difficulty in case of breakdowns. In case of any breakdown at any particular workstation, the entire process will be shut down and there will be stoppage of work. So these are the drawbacks of such layout. Then we have grouping technology layout. In this layout, these are also called cellular manufacturing layout. Remember this. Dissimilar machines are grouped into cells. So what we are doing? Different machines we are grouping together in cells, and there will be various cells of such type. Okay, so each cell function like a product layout within a larger job or shop process layout. So each cell will act like a product layout, and the entire series or the sequence will be a process or job shop type of layout. These layouts help simplify machine change hours, reduce material handling cost, quicker manufacturing and shipping quickly, reduce in-process inventory required, and automate the production easily. These are the benefits of this layout. But the disadvantage is that it reduces manufacturing flexibility. To change the system is difficult in such case. Then we have fixed position layout. In such case, the product that we need to manufacture will remain stationary. The product that we need to manufacture will remain stationary, and all other equipments, materials, manpower and machinery we will bring to the site where we are manufacturing the process. So for example, in case of manufacturing of ships, so a ship is a huge large structure. To move various parts is very difficult. So what we will do, the site or the location where we are manufacturing the ship, that will be static, and we will bring all the materials, men, machinery, equipment to that particular fixed site, and will manufacture the entire structure at that particular location. So it involves movement of all machine and men to the product that remains stationary. So product remains stationary in this case. This is important to note. In this layout, a major component of the product is fixed in a particular location, and all the requirements are brought to the location. Weight, size or some other factor make it undesirable or extremely difficult to move the product. So because of the weight, because of the size, it is not easy to move the product. So we bring all other things to the site. This layout is followed in construction of firms where the product will be in a fixed position, and all other workers, materials, machine and subconstructors are brought to the contraction location. The advantage of this layout include less investment on layout designing. So because we are not doing any layout designing, so there is no investment on that. Avoidance of transporting bulky materials, because all the construction, all the manufacturing work is done at a particular location. So there will be avoidance of transporting bulky materials. Production of ships, large aircraft and space mission rockets are example of fixed position layout. So this is an example of fixed position layout with the help of a diagram. Okay, so this is the project site, and everything will be bring to this particular site. Then if we are mixing some of these layouts that we have discussed, then that we called as hybrid layout. So it is a combination of several type of layouts. Okay, that is hybrid layout. Then we have enterprise resource planning or ERP. Questions are frequently asked in the examination from this topic. So ERP is basically a software. This type of software, an enterprise-wide system that would meet the information and decision needs of the enterprise as a whole across all the functions of management, is known as enterprise resource planning. So it is basically an information providing software which is used to access information across the entire organization. There is a need to integrate manufacturing with other functions within the firm. Marketing, order processing, accounting, finance, production, materials and logistics, quality management, product design, human resource and other functions had to be integrated. Integrated means they need to be clubbed together, they need to be joined with each other. ERP has a central database that and a cross-enterprise interfacing facility shared by all functions of the enterprise. So this information can be accessed by anyone which has been given the right to access the information. It provides an almost instantaneous access to transactional information across the enterprise. So it is an information providing software, ERP. ERP's strength lies in its ability to provide information that is comprehensive, that is of some use, instantaneous and up to date. Many of the waste are due to non-availability of information, like wastage of time. If the information is not available on time, then we will wait, then the precious time, time is very valuable, and we will waste that time just because of the non-availability of information, and time is money, we know. So if we are wasting time, we are wasting money, we are incurring losses. So many of the waste are due to non-availability of information. With the use of ERP, we can eliminate these waste. The benefits of ERP is it provides information that is up to date, uniform, comprehensive, integrated, linking all functional departments and division. ERP software embedded the best practices followed by corporate across the world. ERP software helps the manager to take appropriate decision because information is available, the up-to-date information is available to all the managers, so they can take appropriate decision with speed and quality, and they can save time with the help of this. With the use of ERP, organizations could be more agile, that is responsive, responding quickly and appropriately to the market situation and in attending to the customer. It helps the organization to look inward, okay, that is within the organization, and thus discover areas that could be improved upon. There are various modules of ERP. We have human resource module, inventory module, sales and marketing module, purchase module, finance and accounting module, customer relationship management module, this is very important, engineering or production module, supply chain module. So these are various modules available in ERP. There are various organizations which provide ERP solution. Some of the organizations are SAP, Microsoft, IFS solution which provide ERP solutions. Now we will go across some of the examples. This question is from UGC NET December 19 examination. Two statements are given below, are labeled as assertion and reasoning. Read the statement and answer the questions that follows. So we have given two statements, assertion and reasoning. Statement A is plant location is often oriented towards dominant factors such as raw material, sources, while warehouse location is definitely distribution oriented. This is true. Okay. So because we have seen that there are various factors like raw material, availability of raw material which affect the plant location. While warehousing, the objective of warehousing is to store and to distribute the materials effectively. So warehouse location is definitely distribution oriented. So this statement is true. Plant location decision is driven by the competition and competitor, while the warehouse location decision is exclusively driven by cost consideration. This statement is also true. Plant location, when we select a particular location to establish our plant, we will look at the competition and the competitors. While in case of warehouse, we will look at the distribution cost. So a location with minimum distribution cost will be the best for a warehouse. So this statement is also true, but definitely the reason this statement R is not the correct explanation of the assertion A. Both the statements are true, but it does not justify the assertion. So the second option, both statements are correct and statement R is not the correct explanation of A. This is the right answer for this question. The system that provide an organization with sophisticated planning and control functionalities, greater connectivity to its suppliers, business partner and customers is described as, we have just seen, enterprise resource planning. So it integrates all the functional areas of an organization. So ERP is the right answer for this question. This question is again from December 19 examination. Which is a true assumption needed to perform cost profit volume analysis? Fixed costs are exponential. No, this is wrong. Variable costs are logarithmic. No, it is wrong. All costs are linear. Yes, it is right. So third option is the right answer. Cost profit volume analysis is based on the assumption that all costs are a linear function of the output. That is, as the output increases, the cost also increases. Type of layout preferred in the plant that manufacture standardized products on a mass scale is known as product layout. We have just seen that with the help of product layout, we can achieve mass scale production, and it is used in case of standardized product. So option 1 is the right answer for this question. So students, if you are preparing for IIT JAM, CSIR NET or NTGC NET, then you can buy study material from Edunkle. This will definitely help you to crack your examination. Also, you can download the app of Edunkle from your Google Play Store, On this app, you will find a support of more than 250 experienced and trained faculties which will help you to solve your queries and to crack your examination. Thank you very much.